We are live. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the most professional stream on the internet, the Microwave Extravaganza podcast. And you can find this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher. We are live. Oh, god damn it, I forgot everyone. Welcome back to the most professional stream on... There we go.
And our sponsor today is ourselves.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's how it's going to be in Capistan. We're going to be our own sponsors, motherfuckers. Oh, and we are also sponsored by... Oh, God, you're gonna love this. We're also sponsored by Dapperton Rage. Remember, if you don't feel comfortable with someone associating with someone else, pick up a bottle of this little bit of goo. We were able to extract it from the part of the brain that makes you completely irrational, angry, and inferior to everyone else around you, straight from Mr. Dapperton's skull. Please pick up a bottle of this today if you want to rage out like a psychopath for nothing at all.
See now. So I had nothing to do with you saying that. See, now people are gonna accuse me of reigniting the drama.
No. Okay. So the volunteerist has nothing to do with this. This is all Arcene Incorporated, bitches. So we all. This is one I've been using a lot. We are also sponsored by we are also sponsored by Strawberry Liquid Pussy. These cans of pussy are absolutely delicious. Trust me, it can make you happier every single day. If you've had a hard day at work, pick up a can today at your local grocery store. Whipped cream not included. You know that every girl listening to this stream, all one of them, will be laughing at that, and then there's going to be some feminist that says, "Ah!"
All 1.5 of them.
Yeah, all 1.5 of them. And finally, we're brought to you by San Francisco and their new poison gas. As San Francisco has turned all of that toxic smog that they've been having in there for years into now a poisonous gas that can kill anything and anyone. If you have ants in your house, go to San Francisco, pick up a nice bottle of one of their gases, fumigate your entire house. Believe me, all the ants will either die or kill themselves after sucking in all that smugness. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the volunteerist.
The volunteerist consumer, I'll have you know.
Well, all right, the volunteerist consumer. I didn't want to include that last part because it made me feel like you were bought out.
Oh, man.
Well, okay, so first off, you're an ANCAP, as everyone probably already knows.
I mean, I fluctuate. Sometimes I'm just an extreme libertarian. Depends on what mood you catch me in.
Yeah. Well, what mood would what would you, if I played the Fresh Bear, if I played the Fresh Bell of, you know what song I'm talking about. If I played that song right now, what kind of libertarian do you think you would be?
I'm probably feeling pretty ANCAP right about now. Yeah.
Yeah. I like your attitude too. You know, I can tell you've got a very strong frame. I can tell already. I've dealt with a lot of people who are very, a little bit timid, and that's fine with me. They are just what they are. But I mean, I like people who can, hold their own in a debate.
Yeah, dude, I like to think I'm a decent speaker aside from my stutter.
I can barely tell. I mean, I've got a baritone, but I also sound like this whenever I raise my voice.
A sudden guest appearance by our own Schwarzenegger.
Steroids are overrated. Get to the chopper now.
Back to California with you.
You know what? I did an entire stream with Donovan Moreland, and we talked about how he said he was born and raised in San Francisco, and when he heard that Arnold was going to be the governor, he said, and everyone thought he was going to fix the reservoirs and all the environmental problems and everything else. He's like, "You motherfuckers are going to die. I'm moving to Oregon." Because he knew that one of the. I'm sorry. Did you have something to say?
No, I'm just laughing.
Okay, so he moved to Oregon, and he knew the wife of Arnold was actually Her last name isn't this, because she took someone else's last name. Well, not she took someone else's last name, but her father was from a different family. But her family is a part of the Kennedys, and I really do mean not like a second tier, like, oh, my second removed cousin. No, like direct this cousin of the very wealthy elite Kennedy family, like direct bloodline. Like he basically married into JFK's family.
Taking no bets on how this dude is gonna die.
Me?
No.
I probably will be killed. I probably will be.
It's a well-known fact that all the Kennedy males die very prematurely.
Oh yeah. Well, here, Arnold, never go to Texas and you'll be okay.
Hey now.
Oh, come on now. He's the governor. Show some respect.
He's the governor.
He's the governor. I think that's why everyone voted for him. I think that even though, come on, let's both agree. Even if he's obviously not an ANCAP, neither am I, but even as a conservative or a right-winger in general, he's really what I like to call the diet conservative. The couch-bound, listen to Rush Limbaugh here and there. Sometimes vote Republican kind of guy. He shows up for the food.
Oh yeah, the dude who's never read a moral philosophy book in his life.
Yeah, exactly. I personally have never really actually sat down and read an entire moral philosophy book because I just never had time. But I've read parts and pieces. I actually still have the book with me. I don't know where I put it, but I read Rand. I've read not Fountainhead, but Atlas Shrugged. That was pretty good.
Dude, you try to sit through Fountainhead? God bless your soul, man. That's gotta oof.
Oh, it's depressing and it's long as shit.
Oh, don't worry. It gets even more depressing. If they made it today, they'd call it the Dark Souls of books.
I think that's because back then people weren't such big pussies, but
Well, I think that's just because back then Ayn Rand wasn't a pussy.
Oh yeah, when you come from Soviet Russia, you not be pussy. Even though she had a pussy. That's the irony.
She'd probably kick yours. Anyway.
Oh, I think she kicked both ours. Do you think she could kick yours?
Oh, dude, I am very lethargic. I incredibly doubt that I could stand up to someone from Soviet Russia.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where they get all that toughness, like all that bravery, and just the stereotype of them being brave. It's kind of like saying that all Israelis know it's like how to kick your ass. It's probably because it's probably some truth to that,
Yeah, it also probably has something to do with the stiffness of their booze.
Oh, well, hey, I'm from Wisconsin, and trust me, it's a flip of a coin. And if you're in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know why Canadians don't know this. I've talked to Canadians. I had a quick little talk with Lauren Southern, but it was like a quick Twitter conversation. I don't even remember where it was. It was just like a little bit of a joke. Like she was saying, like, if only you Americans knew what Canadian beer tastes like. I said, bitch, come down to Milwaukee, and then you'll know what an alcohol is. Well, I didn't use those words, but it was a joke like that. I also talked to Short Fat Otaku. And so for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I kid you not, they did a study. 10 of the top 20 drunkest cities in the U.S. are just in Wisconsin alone. So I think that gives you a good idea.
So what's the topic again?
All right. I'm sorry. This is a very open-ended stream. So, but yeah,
open-ended with a whole two people. Look at the comment section, everybody. Everybody, look at the live comment section. What do we see? Nothing. There's a whole two people watching right now, and I'm one of them, just to check on the comments.
Fuck you. Well, did you tweet it out, though?
Oh, right. I was supposed to do that, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were. I tweeted it out, although I didn't say it was a stream. I was kind of lazy, so I'll just say it's a stream real quick. But Actually, we get most of our viewership afterward, and actually, most of it isn't on YouTube because my YouTube channel is rather small, like 78 subscribers. But the rest of my presence in other places, ironically, is actually bigger. Like I'm more well known on iTunes, I believe.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's nice.
I know it's also very weird. I don't know why, but I plan on turning that around. I have a method, if you will. And
I don't think I want to hear about your solutions.
So why is that?
I'm worried we're gonna run across the final solution.
The final solution? Why would I commit genocide?
Just felt like that's where that conversation was going.
No. I'm too lazy.
Sorry, I've debated like 3 nat soaks today.
You've had what?
I debated 3 nat soaks today alone. Like one of them literally argued that women should be property and the weakest and the least fertile of them should be exterminated en masse.
Oh, come on, don't put that on me. What did I do? What the fuck, bro?
Hey, man, this is what happens on Discord.
I mean, I'm on Discord.
Sharing, man. They say sharing is caring, and here you go.
Like, sharing is caring, like STDs. Share them all the time. Oh, God. Oh, was it like a live call, or was it like, messages?
Messages up until I blocked them.
Oh, Jesus. All right, so, we should probably get back on topic. So I wanna ask you this. So when it comes to this, how you would achieve I'm guessing you're also an ANCAP supporter, right? You probably would want abolishment of the government, or hardly any at all, right?
Yeah, about right.
Okay. What everyone says, education would be a good thing, but what would you do specifically if you, let's be honest, money really does have power. Let's be honest. If you really want to hit the system where it lives, you kind of got to be someone who's able to pay for a lot of things to do that. So let's say you're a billionaire. Boom, billionaire, the voluntarist. What would you do?
What would I? That question came out kind of weird. What would I do to further ANCAP as an ideology?
Well, as an ideology, and eventually get to the end goal, because obviously you want people to vote for less government. You want people to.
No, nobody wants any voting. That's a Dapperton idea. No, I do not believe in voting. Well, I generally don't believe in voting.
Yeah, it's kind of like
because I personally believe that voting is participating in mob rule and therefore exerting force or violence on somebody somewhere. So it's morally unjustifiable to me.
Okay, so what would you do to spread the ANCAP ideology and get people to come to alternatives that go around the government system, eventually where the government just fades out of existence? I'm guessing that's what you want to do, right? Where people just, they use Bitcoin instead of the dollar, stuff like that.
Well, I do think innovation will seriously help with furthering humanity to a point where they don't need governments like that. Bitcoin's an excellent example. It's a demand-based, completely online thing that was designed to usurp government control, and it's doing incredibly well at that. It's an untaxable currency,
Damn, I like that. When you said untaxable, a light went off in my head. Ding! Because I'm not gonna. I'm not going to say whether I actually do live in this city or not. I'm just going to say I live close here. I live in southeast Wisconsin. I tell people I live in Milwaukee, but that's just because that's easy for people to figure out. It's not. I'm not going to tell the actual city I live in. But I've been inside Milwaukee plenty of times, and you literally pay a tax to own a car, and and then you pay a separate tax for the size of your tires. The larger the tire, the more you pay. You don't pay that anywhere else in the States. So you can see how little in favor I am of taxes. It just really, that just rings a bell with me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. Because taxation is theft. You are being stolen from, and the justification that they're deciding to use is your tires are too big, or your car exudes too much pollution. Right? That's what they're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. I can understand like it was privately owned and they said, this is just one of our rules, go on a different road, if you don't want
Yeah,
to.
like if you were driving through like a gated community and they said, "Oh well, we don't allow pickup trucks because we think they cause too much pollution, so you'll have to pay a fee to drive that in here." That's one thing because you can choose to disassociate with that. However, because it's a government program, there's the threat of force and violence behind everything they say. You know,
Well, what if
if you decide to say no to a private organization, they'll just either make you leave or I don't know, call in security, something like that.
they'll put
But
you
in the
put
case
you in
of
jail
government, there's always some kind of punishment that infringes on your personal autonomy.
yeah, they'll put you in jail if you say no, but only if you say no, but I'm not leaving. Like only if you choose to associate with them in a manner they don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in other
Yeah.
words, you just avoid it altogether by just not doing that.
Yeah, there's a lot of workarounds that people could use in cases like that. Just
Yeah.
got to know the laws.
Yeah. Well, personally,
But
I'm a minarchist. So I believe I've said this before, I'll say it again. Someone will really have to convince me that Capistan could exist and be feasible. It's not. I don't. If I thought, we could have it where we never need a government and we're all good, we'd be good. And I haven't taken a look at Esso's links, but he sent me some links to like things like, for instance, I think it was like Ireland during some century or whatever.
oh yeah, medieval Ireland. Medieval Ireland, they had no recognizable government, the almost no governing power whatsoever, and yet they still managed to form into militias and such to beat back the highly trained, highly organized British army for 1,000 years.
Which is cool. Although I would argue, how is it that they didn't have a government, or is it that they just never had an official government, but they had something that could be basically called a government?
That changed region to region. Some areas were tribal, some areas were totally individualistic.
All right, I'll have to look into that for myself. I'm sure you guys are not against, personal investigation.
Oh yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Personally, as a minarchist, I just see the government as being kind of a naturally occurring thing because I said this in my video called Capistan, A Nation Without Introspection. Yes, the title was made to invoke emotion, to get clicks, but my actual video is also designed to actually, have real information. It's not really clickbait if you give people what you said you were going to give them, is it?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's a good point. But back to your question. What I would do if I had all the money in the world, the first answer is always education. My second answer would be some kind of space industry or seasteading. That for me, and I personally think that that's the more realistic eventuality, in my opinion. That some group of ANCAPs or just anarchists in general are just going to gather together the money to make an island, which is something we can do now and be self-sufficient somewhere. Or if the technology gets far long enough, make like a I don't know, space colony. That'd be cool.
Do you think it would be? You think it would be a lonely island? I'm so sorry. That was really bad.
See, just because of that, we're never going to allow anyone named Gilligan ever.
I don't know why they didn't just kill Gilligan and eat his organs.
No, he's too skinny. You got to eat the captain.
Well, why kill anyone but Gilligan? Like, they could all do some type of job. Let's be honest. The women, they would serve the highest purpose, but they probably wouldn't like it too much. And then within a few months, they could just be off the island if they just fucking killed Gilligan.
Yeah, like every plan they had got ruined by Gilligan one way or another. Like smoke signals, Gilligan, I think he threw water on it by mistake. Radio, he bashed his head into it until it broke. Gilligan is the reason that they were on that island for 20 years and 40 seasons or something.
Well, you know what they could do? They could send them adrift, so that way they don't have to break the non-aggression principle and watch them die alone.
Yeah, you just put them on a little tugboat behind the rest of the ship and like eat popcorn or something as you watch them starve to death.
Exactly. Or better yet, if none of that works, because somehow Gilligan messed that up too. Like you try to trick him and he does exactly what he's saying, somehow gets messed up. I would personally just use a CB radio to call in an airstrike on the island.
I feel like if you can call in an airstrike, you can call in somebody to chopper you out of there, though.
Yeah, but Gilligan would fuck it up somehow.
Yeah, you would say that there was a leftover Japanese encampment somewhere on the island.
Yeah.
The U.S. military would napalm the whole island.
like basically, yeah, exactly. You say that, but then all of a sudden there is an actual encampment, and Gilligan somehow manages to piss them off. They have one anti-aircraft gun, and somehow it manages to stop it. Because the show needs to go on to make that money. Oh,
no. I'm talking like a series finale.
Like, Gilligan, I'm sorry, but we cannot take this bullshit anymore.
Yeah, it's like an R-rated film with all the same actors.
Yeah, and the best
They've
part,
been on the island for 60 years.
Yeah, they all start a giant orgy to finish off the rest of their lives. Then they say, and then one of them gets religious at the end and says, "God, take me now."
Yeah, the captain gets religious. The scientist guy manages to land both the chicks, and Gilligan and the rich guy end up out in the cold.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, we got to write that.
Well, you know what? I already wrote a script for something else. I'll send it to you sometime. But it's a script for a show that I know will never get made.
I'll read it.
What?
I'll read it, man.
It'll be a show called Adolf in the House.
See, this is weird. Whenever I'm on a stream like this, and there's two people that want to one up each other in jokes like we're doing here, we always get so far off topic.
I know, but I'll just quickly say it. So basically, the first episode will be one where you're introduced to all the characters. Apparently, Ava and Adolf have a kid, and her name is Heidi, and she's dating a ghetto black dude.
And I think that's all I need to hear.
Yo, what up, my Führer? It's not supposed to be taken seriously at all. And in this first episode, it's Valentine's Day, and Hitler forgets to get Ava any flowers. So the only flower shops that are open on that day are Jewish ones.
He paints a big yellow star on the window and takes the flowers.
Yeah. No, he tries that, but it doesn't work because everyone surrounds him because they're all big fans of him. Then he goes into one shop, and he finally finds the one shop out of 12 that it doesn't seem like there's anyone there. He goes, okay, there's no one here. I am just going to take the flowers and leave the marks here. Okay, now just walk this way. Oh, hi there! My name's Lemuel. Welcome to my flower shop.
Hitler has to do like a bad Jewish impression to talk his way out of this.
Yeah. Okay. So now back to Capistan. Would you use advertisements at all? Like advertising, maybe not Capistan itself, but maybe some of the ideas of Capistan to get people to slowly change their mind and just slowly go away? Like, you know, with all that money, you could probably buy anything.
Oh, dude, like, I would be on PBS.
PBS?
Like, the public broadcast station, you can, like, have shows on there for a fee. I would, like, make a show and put it on, like, PBS or PBS Kids or something like that, and just have it be 24/7, just all of it, you know what I mean?
The joy of anarchist painting.
Like there would be a Rothbard show for the kids.
And here's how we paint the happy sunshine that comes over in Capistan in the morning.
The Life and Times of F.A. Hayek.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, one thing I would do, like I said, I would totally, if someday someone can convince me that we don't need a government to keep order, because that's all I see government as. It's just like a ref, not really a player. Well, as what it's supposed to be. And someone to convince me beyond shadow of a doubt that we could do that, I would totally be an ANCAP right now. But I would personally invest a lot of money in ways to make it easier for people to stay wealthy, and all people, like democratize wealth as much as possible, so people don't feel like they need to be slaves to the system. Because if you don't have money, you really are at the mercy of someone else, aren't you?
Yeah, that's true. That's probably what I would actually do. I've kind of been joking around, but that's probably priority number one, which is to liberate people from the welfare state by the most charitable means possible.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, go on.
I feel like that's the best summary I can give it without like messing it up.
Like you don't want to do it. You don't want to like stick to a certain plan until you just start doing it and you see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, you kind of have to, when it comes to like charities and such, the actual how do I put this? The actual means of getting the money to people, it's kind of a trial and error thing.
Plus, I think it would also be good to teach people the truth about how things work, so that way they could be independent. They'll give a man a fish, teach a man how to fish kind of philosophy.
Yeah, I get you. And like I said first, number one would be education.
Okay.
I would have schools with black and yellow flags flying over them.
Yeah. little macaroni, black and yellow.
Yeah. All right, kids, here's your macaroni. Paint half of them black and make the flag.
Yeah. Why are we doing this, teacher? Because we shall liberate the world, and because it looks pretty.
We have them salute the ANCAP flag every morning while chanting "Taxation is theft."
I pledge allegiance to my own human rights, of my own individuality and association.
One individual under God with freedom and justice for me.
And you know what? I will honestly promote like here's the way I'm gonna get more popular. I get so annoyed that James Allsop is kind of a cock at times. If you really listen to a lot of what he says, he's not really funny, but he's very, very demeaning to people. Almost all of his jokes aren't really jokes; they're just ad hominem attacks that he makes before he even makes his arguments. So I'm gonna troll the living hell out of him. He doesn't have a Twitter, so I'm gonna make a fake Twitter account for him and use like audio from his own videos to make him sound like he's doing a stream with me where he's worshiping my ass, and then make it an ad on YouTube every time on one of his videos.
That should be funny.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, we got one comment.
What did someone say?
By Sal B. the Third. Oh, I saw this guy this morning in a comment section in a YouTube video. AmeriCap, I think. Anyway.
Okay.
He commented, "Minarchy is better than you."
Ouch.
Yeah. And it looks like he gave the video a thumbs up. So thanks, appreciated. I get none of this money.
Well, I'll share it in the form of Bitcoin. I think you can do that, can't you?
Yeah, you need like a fifth of a 15th of a Bitcoin, though.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it does. The thing is, once I get it popular enough, if someone could please make a full national anthem, Pledge of Allegiance, and most of all, actual macaroni arts that they can put and send to me on Twitter at Jeremartus4, which is JEREMARDUS. They can send that to me. I will promote their channel on my channel once I get popular enough. And I want to hear it. I want a full audible thing.
Dude, I'll say it out loud on stream.
What?
Dude, if somebody made a full like ANCAP Pledge of Allegiance, I would say it out loud on stream.
Before every stream too. You need to make sure it's before every stream.
yeah, you can record me doing it and play it at the beginning of every stream. Like have it on a soundboard.
Yeah. And in the background you hear America, like that stupid Purge thing. Wait, that should have been the plot. That should have been the plot. Not one day of anarchy, the whole thing until everyone calms down. I mean, if you saw the actual Purge, it probably is a pro-anarchist movie when you look at it, because, like, I know the first movie was really stupid, but the second movie showed that how, even though this family was constantly saying, oh, it just works, you know, the Purge just works, don't question it, it just works, and then they become victims of it. In the second movie, what they show is that there are some people who are purging who look way too professional and way too organized as they're doing it, and they find out that the Purge actually doesn't work. People are maybe, at most, kill over like a personal quorum, or they just rob things. But most people don't even purge at all. And so they're sending out government agents to look like purgers to kill off the poor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember seeing that movie. Like, it was to promote the Purge itself while simultaneously killing off political opponents. And what was it?
Purge election year?
Yeah, it was Purge election year. But at the end of the second one, like, there was some kind of complex plot to use the Purge to completely destroy the lower class in order to, like, bring up the housing market, I think.
And I think it was also just to get free property from people with less money. You know?
Well, no, because I remember they intentionally targeted the lower class, so like they wouldn't have any property or money.
Oh, that's true.
I think I remember it had something to do with the economy and the market, and it made me want to slam my head into my table because of all the Keynesianism.
Keynesianism? I'm sorry. I know that reference, but I don't remember. It's a mental block.
John Maynard Keynes, broken window fallacy, circular flow, bull market. Any of that sound familiar?
Oh yeah, like where he's saying like a lot of false flags are done to promote larger government influence, right?
No.
No?
Economics.
Oh. Okay.
Keynesian economics, the belief that if you break a window, it helps the glass man and therefore the entire economy.
Oh, yeah, that's that. Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't know it was Keynesian economics, but I heard of that similar policy being talked about. No one said Keynesian, though. That's the only reason why I didn't click. But I've heard other people say the word Keynesian, just out of context.
Yeah, John Maynard Keynes was a dude who he was around. I think he was born like 1870, something like that, and he was alive during the Great Depression. And he thought the Great Depression was due to the incredibly free market and had absolutely nothing to do with the Federal Reserve being incompetent with interest rates.
Yeah,
he thought that, and he believed that war was great for the economy because it would reduce unemployment to zero and get everyone working, and therefore we should be in a state of constant war.
I think that it only helps as like a temporary supplement. I think that only if the damage doesn't exceed a certain points. Like it helps American economies, but holy fuck, Britain and Europe had to come back really, really hard. So if like we went overseas, had a war, and most of civilization was left over, we'd be able to rebuild, and it would be like it would be able to temporarily do an artificial boost to the economy because of all the repairs that need to be made and all the money that's being spent. But as a long-term solution, you'd just be stealing from yourself. You're just reallocating.
Right. Well, Keynes, people actually raised that point to him, that exact point. And you know what he said?
What?
He had the best response. In the long run, we're all dead, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
His whole thing was don't plan for the future, don't save. That only takes money out of the economy. You should always act in the here and the now. And like he promoted vice industries. He was a big anti-abolitionist.
What?
Yeah, he was against abolition because it was hurting the economy,
including of slavery.
Alcohol. No, alcohol prohibition, not abolition.
Oh.
I got my inhibitions mixed around. Sorry.
Well,
no.
Well, abolition of alcohol was retarded anyway. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but he was against it for the express purpose that it would hurt the glass industry. That was his whole point.
Like not that people are killing each other in the streets, not that people are just gonna buy booze anyway because it's booze, but you know, the glass people, those glass blowers.
I mean, he technically wasn't wrong, but it does show you his priorities, you know.
And especially, yeah, the glass industry, not the actual alcohol industry, not the restaurants that relied on the fact that booze was one of the things they sold to have continuous cash flow. No, just glass people.
Yeah, he was a very narrow-minded person. The scary thing is, though, he's the main economic force in Washington today. His economic principles are the principles behind subsidies and going to war in the Middle East and petrodollar recycling and all that.
Hey, tell me if you've read this book or not. But I'm going to show it to you real quick. Have you ever seen? Hold on. There we go. Have you ever read this book?
Neocon Amino, no.
I haven't gone into it yet, but I recently just bought it because I literally bought it from a library sale. But it says the subtitle is George Bush's Revolutionary Gamble with America's Future.
Oh, I need to hear this.
I'll read the back. I literally just got it yesterday. It was stupid freaking, like there's a barcode in the part of it. It was hard to believe that at the Bush blah 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 only in 2013 was making the tax blah 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 blah. Fuck, stupid. Oh god, I can't take this thing up. The first president and his allies had pushed through the 10-year package full of phase-ins and phase-outs. Then they had sped up into the phase-ins. In late 2003, they declared there was intention to cancel the phase-outs. That's the original $1.35 trillion plan was to be. Yeah, I think you can see it. Was just a beachhead and a foothold to prepare for a bigger onslaught. In the end, the nation would be paying for much more to bring about the neo-economy. So I think you can tell this person is not a fan, as I was when I was a kid, because I was stupid. I thought, oh, everything's happy in my life, so our president must be doing fine. And then, I got older.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you and I can both believe, though. I mean, like, I can't remember who Esso said this as well on the stream, but there are some people who are obviously politicians, but they mean what they say. They really do legitimately believe in what they say. You know that, right?
I certainly believe that some people mean what they say. Those people are being manipulated by the people who don't.
Yeah,
that's what I believe. I think House of Cards is a lot more accurate to our current political situation than most people give it credit for. If that makes any sense.
But probably just not in the stylized version. It's probably just.
Oh yeah, it's a lot less flashy and it's a lot more paperworky. But I do think it's a lot closer to the truth than most people would think.
And probably a lot more brutal and a lot more like esoteric and creepy. Not talking about entity. I'm talking about like actual like alchemy, like fucking Pizzagate.
Yeah. I don't believe in Pizzagate, but like spirit cooking and that crap. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, yeah, obviously some of the pictures were kind of crude and disgusting. Well, they all were. But let's be honest, though, most of that probably wasn't, like, well, it was probably just art done to like, express disgusting desires. Probably not things that have actually happened. Like, at least not on that scale.
Yeah. I don't think any of them have like are pedophiles to any significant degree. Like Kevin Spacey turned out to be, so that was something Pizzagate guessed right, but still, because somebody broke into that pizza shop and found out that there was nothing. Like he searched around for a room containing all the kids, and he couldn't find anything, and he was arrested for being a shooter in the building.
Oh Jesus! Oh, that's awful. Well, I would
He
say
didn't shoot anyone. He didn't hit anyone. He just shot up the walls.
Oh, just so that way you could terrify people and get in.
Yeah, he scared people to get down. He scared people out, and he shot up the walls in an attempt to try and find like a secret door or something.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, it's awful. The thing is, I think that Pizzagate might be right in that a lot of these people might be pro pedophilia and pro helping people who are pedophiles get away with it. But I don't think everyone involved is one. I think they all just don't believe. I think they just look at other human beings as tools and things to be used. And so anyone who helps them, like pedophiles, they don't want them going to jail. So, you know, and I'm pretty sure I think a lot of it is LARPing. What do you think? Like the spirit cooking part?
Well, like I believe the spirit cooking thing, because like that was like in the Podesta emails and stuff. But my thing is like, for me, it's kind of case to case. Like, do I think Hillary Clinton fiddles little kids based on the fact that she asked for a cheese pizza? No.
Aw, I live in the dairy state. Why'd you have to say that?
Well, that's the theory. That's the theory.
I know.
But do I think that Bill Clinton regularly went to Orgy Island? Yes.
More than likely, it's probably a bunch of people coming together and saying, you know, hey, well, let's be as degenerative as possible because fuck societal norms. Let's just do whatever we want because they believe they're above everything, including stigmas. So
yeah, I'm just of the opinion that they were just a bunch of freaky perverts. I don't think they actually did anything illegal, and a few people who did do things illegal, like Anthony Weiner and Kevin Spacey, I don't think that had much to do with it.
Yeah, great names to be caught in a sex scandal, by the way.
Oh yeah, and also, did you know before the sex scandal went public? Did you know he tried to what was it? It was something that he somehow wanted to try and get back into the He wanted something to do with the NSA. I remember that, but I don't remember the details. Ooh. He tried to like erase information about him or something.
Oh God. Well, hey, I did not hear about that. That's really creepy.
He tried. They didn't let him in, if I remember right. This was several years ago, so I might be remembering wrong.
Anthony, go home. You're drunk.
No, they got videos. Come on, man.
Anthony, it's enough. Go home. I get it. Look, you're just going to have to face the music and put down the liquor. No! I don't wanna.
They were 12, man. Nah, I'm kidding. I don't know anything. I can't remember anything about that situation.
Here's the thing. I'm going to definitely get a lot of heat for this. I personally don't have a problem if one of my friends said, if they looked at someone who is at least 16 or older and said, on a purely physical level, I look at them and I think that they're physically attractive. I think that's fine because by that age, most girls are physically developed. What I would find disturbing is if they said, I'm going to go ask her out. I'd be like, whoa, no, bro, don't, no.
See, like, for me, like 17 and a half, right?
Yeah.
Like that's one thing. 12, that's another thing.
Oh, God, just the thought of, like, I look at a 12-year-old girl. I'm like, how? Like what? Like I would look at the 90-year-old woman and be like, what the hell? Like 90 years old, 12 years old. Oh God! Like not. How does it even click?
Well, here's my thing. Right here's a key bit of information that I learned. Right, for me personally.
Yeah.
You take your age, you divide it by 2, and you add 9.
What?
That's the minimum age your partner can be without it being creepy.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. Okay, I can see that. But like, here's the thing with me. You know, like I said, I have no problem if someone said like if there was a very physically fit 16-year-old and she looked at me like that, I say, okay, on a purely physical level, I can find that attractive. But I'm not a guy without options. I have plenty of options, so I'm just going to say no to that and go out with a 20-year-old. I'd rather do that. I'd rather. You know, especially since you know, it's all physical at that point. You know, the 16-year-old, But mentally, I know 16-year-olds are very, very childish, especially nowadays when a lot of people don't have real world experience. I would just say, no, I'd rather have a girl who's been out of high school for 2 years minimum, so she has real world experience. I don't feel like I feel it's very unsettling, the idea of someone going after someone else who they know probably doesn't have the mental capacity to understand what's going on.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like 15-year-olds. That's creepy. Like if you're 16 and she's 16, that's one thing. If you're 19 and she's 15, that's another thing.
Well, you get what I mean when I say like purely physically, because by that time most girls are done physically growing. You're basically seeing her how she's going to be 4 years from now on a physical standpoint, but everything else disqualifies her.
Yeah, I get you. I totally get you.
Yeah. I hate people who say, "Well, hey, bro, if you find it attractive now, come on, why not?" I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Is that your only disqualifier? Does she look? Can she walk?
If her name is on the clock, if her age is on the clock.
Oh, Jesus Christ! That's gonna be a meme now. I know someone's gonna take that out of context.
Oh yeah, things are gonna go terribly for me from now on. This is the end of my life, folks.
Well, you have more subscribers, so how many subscribers do you have?
Oh God, I couldn't tell you. Here, typing in my own channel real quick.
Okay.
1,255.
Oh fuck! I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Like I would normally say, "Hey, congrats," but oh boy, I can't say that anymore, can I? Oh God!
I don't think anyone should say anything to me for about another year. No, but everyone.
Yeah,
I was kidding.
It was all a joke. I was serious when I said all the things about 16-year-olds. And I was especially serious about the part where I said there's a lot better choices, than someone who's that young. Like
legit though. Under 18, don't do it.
Yeah, don't.
Stop.
Yeah, don't. It's just no. Hell, I have a rule. I don't date anyone under the age of 20, even though I don't feel guilty if I were to have an 18 or 19-year-old girlfriend. Even then, I would probably just not do it in the first place not because I'm afraid of the law, like I don't give a shit, but because I want them to be out of high school for at least 2 years, because I learned so many things about how reality really works when I didn't have Stalin's little pets telling me that diversity is our strength. I had to work for a real job in a real company. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I could totally see wanting somebody more experienced.
Yeah. And by the way, I practice abstinence, so in that way, I don't need someone who's more experienced.
Oh.
What?
I'm just laughing.
Oh, because I practice abstinence?
I practice abstinence, so I don't need somebody more experienced. That was the sentence I heard, and it's beautiful.
Well, okay. Well, it depends on what you mean by experience. If you're talking like maybe they were intimate twice with two guys, and then we get married.
Hey now. I try to keep my channel PG-13.
Yeah, but let's be honest. If a girl says, "Yeah, I've got plenty of experience, tons of guys," I'd be like, "So it was nice talking to you."
Hey man, at this point, I'll take anything I can get.
Okay, well, you know what? All right, I'll be like, "Oh, hi, I've got a great guy I want you to meet. His name is a voluntary consumer. You'll like him, I promise."
Oh, hey, here's some headline breaking news for you.
What's that?
You ready for America to start starving?
Oh God, what happened? What happened?
Trump to announce multi-billion stimulus for farmers.
What? No. Trump, you hated him. You said you didn't like Obama. What the fuck, bro? Oh, that's just taking money that people already have and putting it somewhere else. It's not making new jobs.
Venezuela intensifies.
Oh, This is the thing. This is why I wanted to call out James Allsop. He constantly makes videos about groups like The Roots and Now This on Facebook, and makes videos about debunking some of their videos where they say like gun control, gun control. But then Trump literally, do you know about when he got on TV and said that he would be willing to take away guns from the mentally ill, like take away the guns first, then go through due process? Do you remember that?
I remember. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And guess what happened on Allsop's channel? By the way, the reason I keep mentioning him is because normally if he was a tiny little channel, I wouldn't care. But he has like, I think he, Lauren Southern, Brittany Pettibone, and some guy have the highest amount of subscribers in the conservative sphere. He crickets, nothing. He wouldn't even mention it.
Huh.
I know, right?
Yeah, like you can tell how quickly they try to stamp out the news about the omnibus, about just about everything that doesn't make Trump look like the best conservative ever, you know?
Well, it really got to me when I saw how often he kept saying, "Hey, read The Art of the Deal, read all this stuff." I'm like, "Oh, you're a shill." Oh, you're the non-Jewish Ben Shapiro.
Oh,
come on, you know
didn't hear that.
What?
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
What? Are you a Shapiro fan? I mean, if you are, it's fine. You know, I'm just wondering.
It's a guilty pleasure. It's a guilty pleasure.
I think some of the things he says are right, but you know, I think you don't have to take anyone as being, 100%. You know.
Oh yeah, I'm just joking around, man. I don't take anything we're gonna say here seriously.
That's fine. That's fine.
Like legit though, I do like some of Ben Shapiro's content. Like I like watching his speeches. Those are usually pretty good.
Yeah, or when he talks about social issues, like like when people were telling people, everyone saying like, "Oh, hey, abortion, it's a human rights." And I mean, like you can think whatever you want, but I mean, the way he like, I'm so sick of the fact that abortionists are always looked at as these guys off of like a pickup truck in a farm saying, "Now, when I was a kid, there ain't nothing called abortions." You know, he does a good job of really reminding people what an abortion actually is.
Yeah, people kind of play it like it's like you're curing a disease or something like that, but you're extinguishing another human life.
Yeah, and someone will say, "Well, hey, I mean, come on, I mean, what? Like it's on life support, dude. It has to survive on me." I'm like, okay, here's my solution. Let's say that your friend got into a coma. He's your best friend in the entire world, and he's in a coma, but he's guaranteed. Well, he's got a 90% chance of coming out back alive, coming back better than ever, and even getting superpowers where he can shoot lasers through his eyes. Because he's in my hospital, and I decided, I don't know, I don't like him that much. You know, I'm just going to shoot him in the head. Why not? It's my hospital. Right?
That's about it, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, Jesus. or when someone said, like, why do you care about just a cluster of cells? And he goes like, "You're a cluster of cells."
Yeah, like if you're going to say that a fetus pre-birth is a cluster of cells, then there's no distinction between a cluster of cells and a human being. You just conceded that all human beings are nothing more than clusters of cells, and you just justified random and blatant murder. Congratulations.
Hell, they even say like, oh, like, we have scientists like Neil deGrasse Tyson or Bill Nye, who's actually an engineer, not a scientist, and they are talking about
dude had a bachelor's in engineering.
I'm fine with calling engineers STEM because I do it. I'm going for engineering. I'm fine with that, but I don't call them scientists. Like
I think I know crackheads who have more of a right to the word scientist than Bill Nye.
Oh yeah, because he's not even a good engineer. He's not even a good engineer.
Yeah, he's a bachelor's engineer.
What's up?
He has a bachelor's in engineering. It's not like he's got a PhD. It's not like he's got any kind of advanced degree. He's got a bachelor's.
Well, engineering is definitely an advanced field. So I wouldn't say it's not like he doesn't have an advanced degree. But what I would say though is he's never been operative. I've never seen. He worked for Boeing for a short period of time before he moved to television. He hasn't practiced actual engineering in years. And not only that, like, you see, if I wanted to talk up to like someone about like, creating something. I talk to an engineer. But if I want to know about how something is formed that's theoretical, I talk to a scientist. They're different applications, right?
Yeah, I get what you I get what you mean.
Yeah, and and the funniest thing is they'll say things like the right is anti-science, and yet Neil deGrasse Tyson will come on TV and say, by the way, we found life on Mars. It's single-celled organisms. So a single-celled organism on Mars that will probably die in about a week is somehow more of life than an actual little kid growing in a uterus.
Oh yeah. A single-celled organism that has the lifespan of the time it took for that message to transmit from the camera to your TV is more life than a human fetus. Yeah.
I get it. The church for the longest time, I'm a Catholic, and the church definitely for the longest time was anti-science. But at the same time, a lot of people will change the narrative for their own. It's not a religious thing. It's a people thing. If someone lies about science, like Bill Nye or Neil or the Shill Tyson, if they lie about science, they're going to do it because they got something in it, not because they're Christian or atheist or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a Protestant.
Oh, cool. Dirty heathen.
Get all we get all Helsing abridged up in here.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Just come out, you'll all be like transform onto stage 1 or something like that. Yeah. By the way, I like how they actually use real esoteric elements in there. Like, when Alucard does that thing with his hands. And, because that means as above, so below. That's what it's a reference to.
Yeah, which is like a pose that's in a lot of Catholic depictions of Satan.
Yeah. And also the Baphomet, which is the hermaphrodite god of occult groups and stuff. And I actually thought about learning just to find out what these dudes practice, not because I want to do this for any kind of good purpose, just to understand them. I actually thought about taking a practical operative alchemy.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, as a hobby, not because I'm gonna worship Beelzebub. Just because I'm like, how does this work?
Look, as long as you don't end up as a Catholic suicide bomber, we should all be okay.
Whoa. Timothy McVeigh was not a Catholic suicide bomber. He was an atheist. How do I know? Because no Catholic suicide bomber is that handsome.
I was making a Helsing abridged reference. You were on a whole nother level.
Right. Oh, remember when they shout, "God is great"?
Sounds better in Arabic.
And he goes like, "Hey, you guys, your Naruto running right now." The kid from the kid who Naruto ran out of McDonald's or Burger King or something like that.
I don't know. The only thing about that I know is some kid made I saw this video. I jokingly said that it's going to be the primary means of locomotion in a free society. It was a kid who made a parachute, right? Mm-hmm. And there was he strapped a giant wind turbine or something to his back, and he attached a chair to it, so he could sit on a chair with some kind of parachute contraption, flying through the air. And he flew 9 miles to a McDonald's, grabbed a burger in what was legally a vehicle through the driveway, and flew away.
What? Did this actually happen?
It's not like he flew through the drive-thru. He landed, walked through the drive-thru with the technical vehicle on his back, and flew away.
This actually happened.
Yeah. He had to get a running start, though, and it's some kind of weird parachute contraption, but yes.
Oh, my God. I think I'm in love. Not with him, but with the contraption.
Right?
What?
Right?
Oh, Jesus. Well, hey, by the way, I wanted to ask you about this. I want to start up my own company, and so I'm probably going to go on Kickstarter to get enough money because fuck the banks and the governments.
Yeah.
And so what it would be is I would have an injection device that would go deep enough into the skin to release a neurotoxin. The idea would be a self-defense weapon, and the neurotoxin would be specifically designed to only be effective for 5 minutes straight, and it would only shut down major motor functions, except for, like, you know, a lot of things that you need to survive and to maybe crawl slowly. The idea would be so that way people who are drunk, because they're already, you can't tase, it's hard to tase a drunk person. They tend not to respond much. But this would at least make them so sloppy they couldn't even, like, grab you or use any strength.
That would have to be a fast-acting neurotoxin.
I know. It's worth it. And there's another one which would be like a taser, but it would be a belt. Like if you really need to take someone down really, really, really badly, you know, like you wouldn't just shoot at someone. You could actually wrap it around their body and pull them to the ground.
So what, are you offering me a sponsorship?
I could if you'd be willing. If once I have the Kickstarter up and I have the design down, if you'd be willing to promote it.
Oh, dude, yeah, I'll mention it at the beginning of every video or something.
You know what? You know what? I know you're somewhat joking right now, but I will actually do that if you would be willing to do that.
Nah, dude, I'm serious. I'll do it.
Oh shit, nigga, yeah.
The best way to confirm a legal agreement. Oh shit, yeah. I can't even say it. I got roommates, man.
Oh, geez, are they of minority status?
No.
Oh,
they just really wouldn't like that.
Oh, okay. But I'll just say this because has the jury reached a verdict? Oh yeah, wait, they don't reach a agreement.
But yeah, dude, I'll totally mention like whatever you want at the beginning of a video. You just got to pay me.
Oh shit, yeah, I absolutely will. I absolutely will. Just as long as you announce the Kickstarter, what it looks like, and you know, what's the person I want to pick on the most right now?
Oh, under one condition. Under one condition.
What's what?
I get to write the scripts.
Absolutely. It sounds a lot better than two. It sounds a lot better than two, actually. Yeah. If it comes from you and you really say what you really mean, like how Joe Rogan does that. You know, he doesn't have a specific way of saying things. All they say is just mention this part, do it however you like to do it. You know.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I will absolutely pay you for that.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about payment at some other point. Back to the stream. What's going on?
What's up? Is something happening on your end?
No. I'm trying to remember what we were talking about before we got onto this.
Honestly, I don't think we're ever going to get back to it. I guess we were talking about how you would implement it in Capistan, and then we started joking.
Yeah, and then farming subsidies. I remember.
Yeah. Oh God. So why don't you just please educate some of the viewers right now about why this may be a bad idea? You know, just perhaps, you know, just a theory as to why this thing that has been done plenty of times in the past and has never worked, why it probably won't work this time too.
Well, you see, kiddo. Oh, there goes my headphones. Well, you see, kiddos. There's this little chart called supply and demand. I can't do that voice anymore. It's already hurting.
What?
I can't do that voice anymore. It's already hurting.
Sounds like the first class you would teach in ANCAP school after they say, I pledge allegiance to myself.
Yeah, there's the colors, the numbers, and the supply and demand graph.
Oh God. Well, you know, I think one of the things that people forget is that, you know, this didn't create any new demand. What could have happened is, you see, there's always these things called bumper crops, and they're always subsidized by the government. The thing is, farmers should just deal with bumper crops, which are just it's just another word for surplus. if farmers really wanted to make more money and they were able to produce more or without costing any more, and they were like, well, you can't charge as high of prices, I'd say then just charge less. You'll get more customers. No?
Yeah. Farming, right? Because it's the source of all our food, we give it such leeway, right?
You can never do this with fleshlights. You still there? You there?
I'm still here. Trust me, I'm still here.
You're just a little brought back by that comment, huh?
Little shocking. I gotta admit, you caught me by surprise.
I like shock humor, just letting you know.
I'm not surprised. So I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Your profile pic here on Google.
Yeah.
Is that what I think it is?
It's an angel. What?
I feel like you need to elaborate more on that.
Oh, what do you mean? Oh, you mean the one that we're seeing in the Hangouts?
Yes.
It's literally just a general angel. My character that I play on even though pretty much everyone knows my first name is just Jeremy, because unfortunately I didn't figure out how to set up a live stream so that way it would only show the words Arcean. Andy Worski called that out, said my name by accident. So did Wife with a Purpose. My persona is an angel, so that's why. And yes, I know it has horns on top. I just haven't had the time to change it yet.
Yeah. See, what I thought it was I thought it was a very elaborate Dark Souls reference for a minute. I'm going to admit.
Oh, do you think that's where this comes from? Like this image in particular?
The helmet. That's what tipped me off. It looks like a helmet in Dark Souls 3.
Oh, yeah. I've never played Dark Souls. I go by more.
Do yourself a favor. Don't.
Is it bad?
There's so many better ways to spend your time than being addicted to getting killed by the same monster 90 times in a row before rage quitting, restarting, and going back to the save point just to figure out you were missing a single pathway off to the left that would have completely subverted all of your issues and would have made things so much easier.
Well, I actually sold all my video games for like $600 recently.
Boy.
What? What's up?
Dude, you don't sell all of them.
I did. I even sold my Vita. I sold my Vita. I sold my PlayStation 2, 3, and 4.
Dude, you don't sell PlayStation 2s. Those are antiques.
I liked my PlayStation 2 so much that I realized, as Harlow Durham would say, you're not on your wallets. You're not on your fucking khakis.
Half of that expression got cut out, but I'm going to assume it was something poetic.
Well, I don't know the full speech. Oh, yeah, he goes like, you're not the car you drive. You're not how much you have in your bank accounts. You're not the contents of your wallet. You're not your fucking khakis. That's what he was telling to a bunch of men. He was telling them, material is a tool, not something to be worshipped.
Yeah, but the PS2 is a great console.
I know. Believe it or not, I sold that on a separate day because it was so hard to get rid of. I'm like, no. I remember playing SOCOM Combined Assault all the time with my stepbrother, all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember that?
I remember for my family on my family PS2, we got a bunch of games. I'm too young to remember like half of them, but like.
How old are you?
Question mark. Moving on.
Okay. Go on.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. We had like a bunch of like movie license games because those always sold for super cheap.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was a great time in my life.
Oh, those really crappy games that were like something along the lines of
movie tie-ins. Yeah. And it set my expectations for games so freaking low.
Yeah.
That like I was blown away by Call of Duty 97 generic edition.
No, you mean the one? Are you talking about the one where it was like a few pixels?
No, I just mean like the first time I played a Call of Duty game after all those licensed games, I thought it was like the pinnacle of what the system could do, you know?
Oh God. Oh, but do you remember the first Modern Warfare?
Oh, dude, that was the first Call of Duty I ever played.
That was awesome.
Dude, that opening though.
It was pretty bland.
Like getting pulled out of a car, tied to a pole, and being shot in the face by a Desert Eagle.
Before you start the game.
No, no.
Oh, that was great though. I love that at the beginning.
I meant like the good opening.
Oh, yeah. Like when it literally. I thought to myself, like when I played that again after so many years of having not played it, which I was like, why did I not play? Oh, that's right, I played it too often, so I got bored of it. And when I put it in again, I'm like, this is ISIS. This is
this is ISIS. I'm picturing you. I'm picturing you just sitting in a room with a little tiny controller, just looking at a screen and saying, "This is ISIS."
That is what happened. I was literally sitting there with my PS3 because I played it on the good console, and I, well,
scrub,
and I, and I just sat there and I just said, I'm watching ISIS footage right now.
So it was so good. It was so well acted and so well written. It was genuinely believable.
And it practically is reality nowadays when you actually look at how things are. That's the scary part. Or like the aerial attack scene where you're like in the AC gunship.
Oh yeah, when you're piloting like an AC-130 or something, and like you get punished for mowing down civilians, but you could just gun down a church once you get permission.
Oh yeah, exactly. And the fact that that they did it right the first time, because the second time it was basically Michael Bay's version, and the third time, but the first time, like I forgot his name, Ravensick or something, Ray Civic or something like that. I don't know. He even talked about it, how eerie it was because of how not only blunt and graphic it all was, but also how much ambient noise there was and how quiet it was, to really show you that, like, when it comes to real drone pilots, how much of a disconnect, like an unsettling, uneasy disconnect there really is. And you're just like, I literally feel like I'm there.
Yeah, like I remember seeing a documentary where a Marine pilot said, when I hit the button, I don't see a person, I see 9 pixels on a screen.
Ooh, that's gonna fuck you up, because then you eventually find out that's a person, and you see it.
Yeah, your mind like makes the connection eventually.
And like the thing is, emotionally, you're so disconnected for so long that these people, when they finally do see what it really looks like, they're like, oh my God, I did that so long, I didn't even know what I was doing. Like,
yeah, like looking at an AC-130 from one side and the other is very different.
From being like a grunt on the ground who literally watched someone's face fly off from one of their bullets.
Yeah, I always never understood that. We have all of the air superiority. They have no aircraft, and yet somehow they're still a problem.
Probably because ground troops, they're the only ways to kill some bad guys without causing too much collateral damage.
When has the American government ever cared about collateral damage?
Oh, you mean in like Modern Warfare 2, when he goes like, when has Shepard ever cared about collateral damage?
No, I was just talking frankly, like,
no,
has the American government ever cared about collateral damage? From the Whiskey Rebellion to now, name me one time.
That's pretty true. Although, let's be honest, though, when it comes to Shepard, the character Shepard in the second game, have you played all 3 games, all 3 Modern Warfare titles?
I've played the first 2.
Okay. So, basically, so then you know the story of Shepard. So, I think he was a direct commentary about warmongering America in general. Do you think so?
See, I think his whole character represented kind of the idealized, prissy, clean version of war that we as Americans get fed all the time. You know, he's
a satire of it.
Yeah, like he is Saving Private Ryan. What's the main character's name? Corporal something.
I don't remember.
He's played by the guy who played Forrest Gump.
Oh, okay. I get some of the symbolism there.
He's literally that guy.
But it's a little bit more literate and more free thinking.
Right. Well, Shepard, I think it's interesting because he starts out as this guy. He's the generic Arnold Schwarzenegger action hero, spouting one-liners with a thick accent, mate, that you sometimes all don't understand, but you Yanks can get it.
Are you talking? Wait. Are you talking about?
I'm rambling. Is what I'm doing.
Are you talking about Captain McTavish?
I am thinking about Captain McTavish.
Ah, okay. Yeah, you were thinking of Soap.
Yeah, I was thinking of Captain McTavish.
Yeah, but Shepard. I meant Shepard, like the American, that dude. You know, the mustache.
The one that died in the nuke.
No, well, not the one who died in the nuke, but the one with the mustache. You know, the one.
Oh, Colonel Shepard. Oh,
Colonel Shepard. Yeah, Colonel Shepard. You know, the one you fight at the end.
Oh yeah, now I get you.
Yeah.
The one who shoots you in the face with a revolver. Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah.
You literally commit terrorist crimes for him, and then he shoots you in the face.
Yeah. Well, you don't know that you're well. Actually, I think that's what's his name? The Russian. You're thinking of that's the Russian that shoots you when you do that. Although,
well, no, I mean like he has you infiltrate the Russian mafia and commit like terrorist acts. Then he turns around a few missions later and shoots you with his revolver.
Oh no! Wait, no! I think he has. I think that in that terrorist operation, you got shot by the mafia terrorists, but on orders of Shepard, I think.
Yeah, whatever. He's still responsible.
Yeah, he's responsible. In other words, he's the one who pulls the trigger from a distance.
Yeah. Regardless, right? I was thinking of Captain McTavish and how he's the generic image of the action hero that slowly gets corrupted by the realities of war.
Yeah.
I was not thinking about Shepard at all.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know, we probably should get back to politics, but I think this would be a good zigzag into borders. What do you think of them?
That was not a very good zigzag.
No, I'm going to mention Sicario.
Oh, borders. Well, that's one of those things that I kind of flip-flop on sometimes.
That's all right. If you don't have a strong opinion, I don't want to see
I don't have a strong opinion. Like I want to believe that borders are morally wrong because they violate people's autonomy and their ability to freely associate. You know, if I want to freely associate with a Mexican man and have him work my yard or do an office job for me, that's my right as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there's ISIS,
and there's other cultures that just do not work with each other.
Right. So I kind of flip-flop on the issue.
All right, you know, I won't get too much into that, but I will say everyone saw Sicario, like the first one, and I thought it was a really good movie. And there was one person named Shane Burton who was more of a movie examiner, not a political theorist. Like I said, I've read pieces of Mises, but I have never read the book. I've never read an entire theory book through because I'm a little lazy. But one thing that was interesting. What's up?
Oh no, that was just a bottle cap. Don't worry about that.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so he had a video talking about how Sicario actually has it where Kate. Have you seen the movie Sicario?
Nope.
Well, I'll say this. Kate, you watch Kate. She's the person you watch throughout the movie. She's the one you follow around. She's a part of.
Oh wait, is that the one with the border control chick?
Yes. They go
and several excursions into Mexico, and it screws with her.
Yep.
I remember like a bit of that movie. I rented it once.
Oh yeah. So what Shane said is he didn't realize why he didn't identify with the protagonist Kate, and he said it's because he found it's like, wait a minute, I know why. It's because Kate's actually a villain. And I started he started talking about how Kate, when you look at how everything is done in Sicario, if you actually look at it, everything that Matt and Alejandro's team, their unconventional task force that goes into Mexico, everything they do, even though they're looked at as the lawless men in this place, everything they do goes off without a hitch. When you look at Kate constantly says, "What the hell do you think you're doing here? What the hell do you think you're doing here?" Blah 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 blah. She complains throughout the movie and eventually gets to her. He says that Kate's actually the villain because when you look at it, Kate's always saying, "I do things by the book," but the book that was written by her superior officers in the FBI allows Matt and Alejandro's team to do everything that they do in Mexico. And when you look at the practicality of everything they do, there's a great shootout scene, which Kate just keeps saying, "What the fuck are we doing?" But everything that happens, if you take Kate's commentary out, Alejandro goes up with his guns as he sees these sicarios that are about to get out and kill Matt's team. He gets out of the car, and so do all of his men. They surround the car, and there's one guy who got out of the car who has a pistol pointed down, and he's really pissed, and he wants to pull it, and Alejandro keeps saying, calm down, don't make me kill you, let's work this out. The guy aims a pistol at Alejandro, and Alejandro, of course, kills him. Everyone in the car dies. Second car, everyone knows that there's guns in there, and one guy shakes his head at the person in the car, says, "Don't do it." Get out. They should get shot up. Kate just keeps complaining. You start to realize Kate is complaining about everything, but nothing is going wrong. So then he says, the reason why Kate is a villain is because she only wants to fight the Sonoran cartel in the way she personally feels is okay. And she wants to expose Matt's team. Despite the fact that every time something went wrong with the team, it was always her fault. She was the only one who screwed up anything in the entire movie. Sure, they sometimes play a little dirty, but they're effective. And it doesn't matter whether it's reality or how consequences really work in real life, or the fact that Mexico is not the United States, the fact that Mexico is practically a war zone. Kate and people like Kate are the only reason why things can't get done across the border. And that has been getting more people in two countries killed than anything else. Now, the reason why I wanted to mention that is because I went into it and I started saying, not only is she the villain, she's a metaphor for the average left-wing, open borders American who don't realize what Mexico is. It's a war zone. There are entire towns run by the cartel. And I'm not saying the police are there, but they're kind of puppets. No, I mean, they literally kicked out all governments, all other businesses, and put a dictatorship government of their own in the form of a cartel, a drug cartel in those towns. You cannot play by the same rules when it comes to policing. A war zone versus like America. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I follow.
I mean, but what do you think of the idea that a lot of Americans have an idealized version of Mexico?
I think that's a broad generalization.
Yeah. I mean,
there are some people who think Mexico is a pile of sand that people chose to live in for some reason. Yeah, there are some people who think, Mexico is a slum world that is just infested with drugs. Some people think Mexico is just the land of tacos and sombreros and gunfights.
I'd go there.
Who doesn't love tacos?
Oh, sombreros and gunfights? Oh, you're telling me I can just, go to the never-ending Purge anarchy and just do whatever I want? Snack on some good food, wear a silly hat and shoot some bros? Yeah, why not? Hop back to Mexico. Hop back to the U.S. when I'm done.
Yeah.
I mean, when you hear stories on the news, you always hear these people saying, "Oh my God, they're deporting these innocent Mexicans that came into the country illegally after their dad was caught drinking and driving." Did they not realize there are bad people in these countries? They just have this idealized sympathetic version of what people from Mexico are.
Yeah, like I think it's weird. Like I get the feeling that pro-border people get the feeling that Mexicans are just all slumlords who want to live off of welfare and sell drugs and anti-border people on the left, from what I can tell, generally believe that the Mexicans are victimized people, something white people, we owe them stuff.
Yeah,
I don't really agree with either side. For me, the whole border thing is just a matter of freedom of association versus ISIS.
Yeah.
And usually freedom of association wins out for me.
Yeah. Although you got to admit, a lot of also that in some ways these Mexican people are kind of also breaking the idea of free association, because there's a lot of people out there who don't want them in their neighborhoods, and they'll just go in there anyway. Like, to them, it's not about free association.
Or what do you mean by that? Like trespassing, or are we talking like buying a home in a neighborhood?
Well, I'm talking like buying a home in a neighborhood that not only doesn't want them, but then also trespassing onto other people's property and then going back to that house. Because
trespassing is a crime, but if you buy a plot of land, what other people think doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with your transaction.
Well, but
you have a right to your property, and therefore you have a right to you have a right to your land. To say that Mexican people shouldn't be here because some people in some neighborhoods don't want them as neighbors is not a valid argument by any means.
Well, do you mind if I finish? I mean, like, illegitimate purchases, like, as in, because there's a lot of identity fraud that's used by people who come here illegally to get the funds, which not only violates the non-aggression principle by aggressing onto someone else's property, in other words, their money, their identity. But a lot of times, like, when they come over here, they don't do it by legal means. Now, let's say we got rid of the borders and that wasn't an issue, fine. But there's also the idea of an entire neighborhood saying the people who came over here, when they came over here, are causing a lot of violent crime. They are doing the ISIS thing. But when we ask them to leave, they say no. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. Oof, that hit me fast. I wasn't expecting it, honestly.
Okay.
Gotta give me a minute to prepare.
Okay.
But honestly, for me, borders aren't that big of an issue.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Because for me, right, it's status arguing with status. That's how I view it. So it's not that big of an issue for me.
But do you agree, though, that nobody has the rights to come to America and receive benefits? That they have the rights to. They have the right to apply, but they don't have the rights to a country. They don't have the right to the land belonging to someone else without the person's free will to give it to them.
Well, here's what I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that if I want somebody on my property as a worker or just to have a cookout or whatever, I have a right to bring them there. I don't think the government has a right to say, no, you can't hire that guy, or no, you can't meet with that person. They're from the wrong country. Or no, you can't go to that school that you already paid for the tuition for. You're from a different country. I don't believe in that. I believe that borders, when you get down to it, are an arbitrary line drawn by politicians and bureaucrats.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, I can see that. I definitely can understand that. But would you agree if two tribal groups constantly fight whenever they interact with each other, that someone should be able to say, can we build a border and just tell each because you guys can't behave that you guys should stay away from each other?
See, but like I view individuals and governments as two different things, because the government maintains a right to force. Right?
Yeah.
If one person says, I don't want you on my property, that's fine. If the government says, I don't want you on any of these people's property, even though I didn't ask them, I'm less fine with that. That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it. But here's one thing I've always said about why I personally think that Capistan could never really exist. There has to be a certain group of people that don't need permission from someone else to punish those for doing something that is universally considered wrong. So that way there's no like, well, but I don't agree with that. So I don't want to freely associate with this punishment, even though I may have broken the nap or, done something else that was bad. Like, I could put someone else at risk. Or like drunk driving, I don't think breaks the nap. I think it's bad because I think that you're being negligent.
Well, reckless endangerment, like drunk driving, does certainly break the nap, I think. But that depends on your subjective interpretation.
I think it's a bit of a stretch, but I do think that like we need one group of people that is universally able to say, okay, we have clear evidence that this happened. We can punish you without your permission because we can't have you pick and choose when you get punished.
Well, the justice system is something else that is highly contentious among ANCAPs and libertarians, but I'm personally of the belief of punishment by isolation. Right? You want to rob a house or you want to kill somebody? All right. Nobody in their right mind would sell anything to you.
Okay. And
if you're well known as being like a mass serial killer or for ripping people off or for ignoring contracts, nobody's going to want to associate with you. Nobody's going to want to sell you food or give you a water supply or anything like that. You would have to provide all of that on your own. And I think that enough is an incentive to, I think ostracization as a punishment by a group is enough to dissuade crime, except for like the mentally ill or something.
Yeah. Well,
because everybody knows, you can't these days you can't 100% autonomously operate alone. You need an internet service provider. You need somebody to fix your plumbing. You need somebody to do something. It's very difficult these days to operate completely independently and still maintain a decent standard of living.
There's only one way, is if you're a very smart person who found land that is unoccupied that has enough resources.
Yeah, but like, what's the odds of that?
Yeah, exactly. And
that's kind of a lifeboat scenario if you get what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, that's like the show Life Below Zero or Naked and Afraid, stuff like that.
Well, I meant a lifeboat scenario as in like that's kind of the gotcha scenario that has a 1 in 10 million chance of happening, and it's designed to counter my argument.
Yeah, it's kind of like the.
Well, what if this incredibly particular and highly unlikely situation happens? What then?
Yeah, guys, come on. What do you think? Yeah. No, I just thought it would be a good nuance to not forget, but probably not to take too seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this. What about child abuse? I'm not talking about like sexual abuse. Have you ever heard of a kid called Desmond is Amazing?
Nope.
Oh, it's so heartbreaking and so creepy. He's called a drag kid because he's a kid who dresses up in drag and goes on fashion shows and shit. And his mom is like very much encouraging of it. And when you look at that, it seems like, okay, I think that's probably not a bad thing. But then you realize it's the people who are encouraging it are probably not doing it because they think it's so pure, beautiful and brave. They're most likely touching him in bad places. And it's a catalyst to have bad parents, do that. And it's like, what about keeping kids out of the hands of truly demented parents?
Well, again, it's a contentious issue. I personally believe that's what orphanages or I know you as a Catholic might have an objection to this, but churches or orphanages or private things that are specifically designed to help people in that situation. I believe that there's a charity for kids who need to get out of an abusive home. And I do think that if a parent violates the NAP on a child, it's still a violation of the NAP, and he still needs to be punished.
Well, maybe
in the same way.
Violation. Maybe it might not even be a NAP violation. It could be something like like forcing your kid to dress up a certain way. Maybe not like punching him or anything, but like putting the makeup on him and telling him he's gay, even if he's never said so, or even if he said, "But I like girls," as mommy, or like giving him like food and only serving him food that has like estrogen in it, stuff like that.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about like psychological borderline child endangerment, but not quite. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, to the point where it's designed to slowly warp their minds to not understand reality and then do punishment.
Right, but like, what can government do about that, though?
They could definitely pass some law saying that you can't be forcing your kid to take something.
But like, how can the government be in every single home in America to make sure that's not happening?
Well, it's not so much to be in every home. This is kind of why I have what I talked about with the police. The police aren't really there to necessarily stop a crime most of the time. Sometimes they can. Sometimes you can use it to stop a crime, but they're usually there to take over a situation after a civilian has dealt with it themselves. Like if a civilian tried to deal with an armed robber and they broke into that person's and the person who broke in, they win the fight. They kill the civilian. The cops are there to then investigate it and bring that person to justice. So this way, it's not just like, oh, I killed this person, so therefore I win. No, now you just got the police on your ass. No, they're there to finish it.
I can see that, and that is why security forces would exist.
Sure, but wouldn't they be essentially a government at that point if they have the right to exert force in order to enforce a commonly held belief about order?
Well, no. Hold on. Somebody saying, "Hey, protect my land with guns," and paying you is not the same as somebody saying, "Hey, we're going to protect your land with guns. Now pay us or else." That's the distinct difference. I can voluntarily associate with people with guns to have them, protect my land. I can't choose whether or not I want to associate with a government. That makes sense?
Yeah. Well, what if there was a universal law that says the only time that you will be forced to associate with someone is if said security force has hard evidence that you committed a crime, but it's only to interview you and bring you to a court system, and if they don't have the evidence, they have to leave you alone. If you're found innocent, then they can't associate with you. So this
Hold
way,
on, go through that again. You confused me.
So in other words, you, the one who pays for the security force, can choose from a variety of different forces. STC services, Dunbar or Garda World, Blackwater, which is now Academy. You can choose from any of these who protects your home, and you can be one of many people that they protect. But let's say you're the perpetrator. You cannot choose to freely associate with a security force or not if they have hard evidence that you committed a crime. Therefore, it would be for those who perpetrated the crime. If it's clear you broke the NAP, you have to face punishments.
Again, there's interpretations of the NAP that say that. There's interpretations that don't. It's very subjective, but I'm of the personal belief that when you violate somebody else's bodily or any kind of autonomy, you yourself are giving up your autonomy to a degree. You know what I mean?
So in other words, you've chosen freely to associate with whoever you've betrayed, including whoever they employ.
More, to a degree, yes, but it's more like you've chosen an action that has the consequence of being punished.
Mm-hmm. Therefore, everything that happens afterward is your choice.
Right.
You've already chosen.
I don't know how to phrase this. I wrote it down somewhere. I've had this conversation before. I wrote down how I like to phrase this somewhere. I don't have that piece of paper.
Here's something you're really going to get mad at me for. Then I think we should probably go. But I believe as a minarchist, there's only one principle that I think minarchists wouldn't like. Because minarchists believe that, what we believe is that the government should just be a referee. That it should just say, you can't do this, and only make you associate in ways that give everyone equal opportunity, not equality of outcome. Meaning you could still go to a private school, but you should have to pay a small amount for public school. But it should be very small. The government should be heavily gutted and revised and made much, much smaller than it is today. And we should have an itemized reduction sheet. There's one belief I have that every minarchist will hate me for. I think that in a defensive war where we are attacked first, we should have the right to bring back the draft and force anyone who wants to live here that if they don't want to fight, they have to move out. They have to go somewhere else. They don't have to fight, but they can't live in the United States if they aren't going to fight for its independence.
See, now we're getting into the specifics of the United States. See, when it comes to matters of defense, I defer to a historical example. Are you at all familiar with Roman history?
Yeah.
You remember who Vercingetorix was?
No.
He was the Gaul that led some of the hardest campaigns that Caesar ever fought against.
He was a Frenchman, basically.
Yeah, he was a Frenchman back when the French were cool.
Well, they were called the Gauls at the time. For those who don't know, I don't want people to get confused.
Yeah, they were a tribalist society. They were called the Gauls. They were cool. They were savages, barbarians, and extreme individualists.
They fuck shit up all the time. They're my kind of guys. Go on.
Well, Rome wanted to subjugate the area known as Transalpine Gaul, which was, for those of you not familiar with said terminology, it's like north of Italy, but like the very southern part of France.
And the south of France, basically.
Yeah, basically the very southern end of South France. He wanted to subjugate that area and make it a Roman state, basically. He wanted to make it a state in the Roman Empire. Stuttering.
Relax, just chill. It's okay. We're good, man. We're good.
Yeah, sorry. I just get annoyed. Caesar wanted to subjugate this area by military force, and it was working for a while until most of the Gallic tribe leaders decided that enough was enough. Caesar was being too brutal, too crazy. They needed to stop him, right? So the tribal leaders met together, and they got this guy, a tactical genius named Vercingetorix. Vercingetorix, though, refused any conscripted men. He wanted an army to be entirely volunteer, and it was. He raised over 30,000 men, and he fought a long and bloody campaign with Caesar.
Okay, so what you're saying is it definitely works more to have volunteers. And I agree. I mean,
he lost because Caesar is Julius Caesar, but regardless,
it took a long time to lose.
It took like 4 years.
Yeah,
which was long for a war back then.
So in other words, he was basically, even though he was technically the loser, it was like when McGregor fought Mayweather. You know, it took forever. You know, Mayweather still murked him, but you know, Conor held in there.
It's like Rocky 1, right? It's like Rocky 1. It's not particularly about winning or losing the fight. It's the fact that he held in.
Yeah, he won the distance. And he was one hell of an opponent too.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it really shows. Yeah, because it's kind of like saying, well, the dude who was human still lost to the Hulk, but he held out for like 5 hours.
Yeah, it's like Iron Man, you know, beating Thor for like 15 minutes before the hammer came down. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's still impressive.
Yeah, it's still kind of like, you know, you're still facing fucking Thor. You know?
You're going to lose. It's really a matter of how quickly you're going to lose.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, because Thor is Thor. He'll just go boom and you're done.
Yeah. But, in that same way, Vercingetorix went the distance with Caesar, and it's really only because Vercingetorix didn't understand how fire works that he lost the war.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Well, you mean firepower.
No, fire.
What? He didn't understand fire.
It's a long, complicated story involving a wall, a mud slope up the wall that the Romans wanted to march up towards, and Vercingetorix wanting to burn mud.
I mean, if he knew how chemicals worked, he probably could make it work.
Probably, but he used a torch. He just threw a torch at a mud hill in the rain and expected it to catch fire.
There was no oil. There was no gasoline. There was no flammable liquid above it. It was just, you know, fuck you, Romans.
It was a mud hill that they tried to burn down before it could reach the top of the wall of the town that they were defending and invade. Now, interestingly, the mud did dry, causing it to sink down, causing Vercingetorix to think that he did burn down the mud slope, and he went back inside.
Oh, and then things got bad.
And then things got bad when they piled more mud on top, yes.
Oh my god. Hey man, I've really got to go. This went way over the time I thought it would be. Would you mind mirroring this stream on your channel?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, sweet dude. And I'll send you do you use PayPal?
I can get a PayPal.
That'd be good. Email me your PayPal information via, DMs. And then when that happens, I'll send you my PayPal information, and once I get everything set up on Kickstarter, we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, dude. All right, the volunteerist consumer, everyone. Thank you very much for coming on.
It was a pleasure.
All right, see you later.
See you.